The human child's small feet clanged against the metal floor of the alien starship. Every step echoed loudly in the vast hall, filled with shadows and strange, glowing lights. The walls shimmered like liquid metal, and the ceiling seemed to stretch into darkness. The air smelled faintly of ozone, sharp and cold. Around him, tall alien warriors stood like statues, their eyes glowing faintly, their armor reflecting the soft light. They towered over him, each one easily twice his height. Their hands rested on strange weapons that hummed quietly, ready to strike at the smallest wrong move. The child swallowed hard, trying not to show his fear. He had heard stories of alien empires, of emperors who could crush planets with a wave of their hand. But now, here he was, a lone human boy, standing in the middle of an alien court. A thin line of sweat ran down his back, but he forced himself to keep his head high. His medal, pinned to his small chest, shone brightly under the cold lights. It was small, simple, golden, but it meant everything to him. At the far end of the hall, on a throne that seemed to float slightly above the ground, sat the alien Empress. Her presence was overwhelming. Her eyes glowed with a deep violet light, larger than human eyes, filled with power and intelligence. Her skin shimmered with tiny scales that caught the light, making her seem both beautiful and dangerous. Long robes flowed around her, glowing softly at the edges, like energy captured in cloth. She leaned forward slightly, fixing her gaze on the child. The child felt as if her eyes were searching inside him, reading his thoughts, seeing every fear he tried to hide. Around her, the alien warriors whispered in a strange language. The sound was musical and sharp at the same time, like glass breaking softly. The murmurs made the metal floor vibrate slightly. Every alien in the room seemed to focus entirely on the small human. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm, but it carried through the hall like a drumbeat. "Why do you wear that?" she asked, her eyes locking on the medal on his chest. The room went completely silent. Even the low hum of the starship seemed to fade. Every warrior froze, their weapons lowering slightly, their attention fully on the child. Some tilted their heads, curious, some narrow-eyed, skeptical. None of them had ever seen a human in their court before, and certainly none had seen one brave enough to walk in alone, wearing a medal of honor. The child felt his heart pounding in his chest. He wanted to look away, to hide, but something inside him refused. He remembered why he had the medal in the first place. It was not for strength, not for fighting. It was for helping someone when no one else could. For standing up when others were too afraid. For courage. He took a deep breath. "I wear it because I helped protect someone," he said, his voice shaking a little but clear. "Because I did what I had to do, even when it was dangerous. I helped someone who could not protect themselves." For a moment, the hall was completely still. Then a low murmur spread among the alien warriors. It was not fear, not anger, but something new. Respect. Some of the taller warriors shifted slightly, as if leaning in to listen more closely. Some whispered to each other in the alien tongue, glances of surprise passing between them. One warrior even knelt slightly, a small gesture that surprised the boy. The Empress tilted her head, her glowing eyes studying him even more closely. "Interesting," she said softly, almost to herself. "Very interesting." The child did not understand all her words, but he understood the meaning. He had caught her attention. That alone was something few humans ever achieved. A sudden vibration ran through the floor. The Empress waved her hand, and a platform rose from the floor. It was smooth, silver, and seemed to hover without any visible support. She gestured for the child to step onto it. His stomach twisted with fear, but he obeyed. The warriors parted, making a path, their eyes never leaving him. Once he was on the platform, the Empress stood fully. Her figure towered above him, even with him on the rising platform. She circled him slowly, her eyes glowing brighter as she examined every detail. The medal, his uniform, even the way he held his hands. Each step made the child tense, but he held his ground. "Tell me," the Empress said, stopping in front of him. "Why should your kind be trusted among the stars? You are small, fragile, insignificant compared to us." Her voice was not cruel, but it carried authority that pressed against his chest like a physical weight. The child swallowed. He thought of his planet, of the people he had helped, of the small acts of courage that no one else noticed. "Because," he said quietly, "even if we are small, we do what is right. Even if we are weak, we try to protect others. Even if we are alone, we never give up." A silence fell. Even the humming of the starship seemed to pause, as if waiting for what would come next. The alien warriors shifted again, some glancing at each other, clearly unsure what to make of a human speaking so boldly. The Empress leaned back slightly on her throne, her hands folded in front of her. She studied the child, her expression unreadable. The child's heart pounded so hard he thought she could hear it. He could feel every gaze in the room pressing down on him, judging, testing, weighing his worth. Then, slowly, she nodded. One small nod, but it carried weight. A nod that changed everything. The warriors leaned forward, their weapons still lowered, their eyes wide. The child did not fully understand what it meant yet, but he felt a spark of hope. He had survived the first test, but the question still lingered in the air. The room held its breath for his answer. A whisper passed among the alien ranks. And the child knew that this was only the beginning. Something much bigger was waiting. Something that would test him in ways he had never imagined. And yet, he was ready. The child stood on the hovering platform, feeling every pair of alien eyes burning into him. The metal on his chest glinted under the strange lights of the hall, a small symbol of a human world far away. The alien Empress had not moved yet, but her gaze was sharp, almost as if she were trying to measure the child's very soul. Around him, the alien warriors waited, silent and tense, each one curious, suspicious, and yet, intrigued. The child remembered how he had earned that medal. It was a small act, hardly worth mentioning to most people, but to him, it was everything. On his home planet, a colony had been attacked by rogue machines. Many people had panicked, hiding or running. But a younger child, no older than he was now, had been trapped under fallen debris. No one else could reach him safely. And he had risked everything, running into danger, lifting the heavy metal, dragging the child out just in time. The medal had been given to him for courage, for doing what was right, not for glory, not for honor. He felt the memory like fire in his chest. The fear in that moment, the determination, the heartbeat pounding faster than ever, he remembered it all. And now, facing the aliens, he realized that courage was still the same, no matter the size of the opponent or the world he stood on. The Empress's voice broke the silence, low and measured. "Speak, human. Tell me why you did this. Why you risked your life for one so small, so insignificant. Why should your kind matter among the stars?" The child swallowed hard. He could feel his knees shaking slightly, but he lifted his chin. He thought of the medal, of the act it represented. And he spoke, slowly, choosing each word carefully. "I wear this medal," he said, "because it reminds me of what humans can do. We are small, yes, but we try. We protect, even when it is hard. We help, even when no one asks. We fight, even when the world thinks we cannot win." He paused, seeing the alien warriors leaning closer, their glowing eyes fixed on him. He did not know if they understood everything he said, but he knew they understood courage. That much was clear in the sudden hush that fell over the hall. One warrior, taller than the rest, whispered to another, "He is different." The words were strange, but the tone carried respect. The child could feel it, even if he did not fully understand their language. Every alien in the room seemed to sense something unusual. Humans, fragile and weak by their standards, were rarely brave enough to speak so boldly in front of the Empress. The Empress circled the platform slowly, her flowing robes whispering against the metal floor. Her glowing eyes studied every detail: the medal, the child's uniform, even the steady way he held his hands. "Interesting," she said softly. "Your kind survives, not by strength, but by courage. And yet, one act does not define an entire species." A ripple of tension spread through the hall. The child's heart thumped in his chest. Was this another test? He did not know. He only knew he had to stay true to what he believed. I know one act is not enough, he said, but courage grows. Small acts matter. Protecting someone, even when you are afraid, that is how humans matter. That is how we survive. The Empress's eyes narrowed slightly. She stepped closer, her energy radiating like a storm about to break. You speak of courage and survival. Yet you are alone. You have no army, no weapons that can match mine. Why should your words carry weight here? The child's chest rose and fell quickly. He remembered the faces of those he had saved, the people who had smiled at him when danger passed. He remembered the feeling of doing right when no one else would. And then he spoke again, quietly but firmly. Because courage is stronger than fear. Because right is stronger than power. Because even small beings can inspire hope. That is why my words matter. The hall fell completely silent. Even the low hum of the starship seemed to pause, listening. The alien warriors exchanged glances, uncertain, their earlier suspicion replaced by curiosity. Some of them knelt slightly, a gesture of respect few humans had ever received. The Empress leaned back slightly, her glowing eyes intense. For a long moment, she said nothing, studying the child as though weighing the balance of the universe on his small shoulders. Then, slowly, a faint smile curved her lips. Remarkable, she said, almost to herself. Your courage, your morality, it is unlike anything we have seen. Her hand hovered above the throne, then gestured to the warriors. He may be small. He may be human. But he carries the spirit of one who could change the course of worlds. The child's chest swelled with a mixture of relief and wonder. He had faced the first trial, not with strength or weapons, but with words and courage. Even the alien warriors, once so intimidating, now seemed impressed. Then the Empress raised her hand. This is only the beginning. The true test will come soon. Human child, are you ready to show us the strength of your spirit? The child nodded, his fingers gripping the edges of the metal. He did not know what awaited him next, but he was ready. Courage, he knew, was not about fearlessness. It was about standing tall even when the universe seemed larger, stranger, and more dangerous than anything you had ever imagined. The alien warriors leaned in, whispering in their strange tongue, anticipation vibrating through the air. The child felt the weight of their attention, yet he did not falter. For the first time, he understood something important. Humans, though small, could leave a mark on the stars. And somewhere deep in the vastness of the alien empire, a seed of respect for humanity had just been planted. The Empress's gaze remained on him, unwavering. The next challenge, he knew, would be harder. But for now, he had spoken, and the universe had listened. The hovering platform descended slowly, setting the child on the smooth metal floor. The Empress's glowing eyes followed every movement, and the alien warriors shifted slightly, their curiosity growing. The hall seemed larger now, as if the weight of the coming test stretched the ceiling into infinity. The Empress raised her hand, and a series of panels emerged from the floor and walls. Strange symbols glowed faintly on each panel, and beams of light arced across the room, creating a maze-like pattern. She spoke, her voice calm but commanding. Human child, she said, your courage is clear. But courage alone does not define strength. You must prove your mind, your heart, and your resolve. Only then will we see the true worth of your kind. The child's heart pounded. He did not know what these trials would be, but he felt a spark of determination. Whatever they were, he would face them. The first test was simple in appearance but deadly in thought. Panels lit up with strange alien symbols, shifting continuously. The child realized quickly that they were a kind of puzzle. Each symbol represented a sequence, a pattern. He had seen puzzles before, but never like this. He frowned, focusing hard. His small hands hovered over the panels, touching the glowing surfaces. Slowly, carefully, he began to press the symbols in the correct order, testing and correcting until the panels lit up fully. A low hum of approval ran through the hall. The alien warriors murmured, their glowing eyes narrowing in interest. Some whispered to one another, and the child caught a few phrases he didn't understand, but the tone was, respect. The second test was physical. The Empress waved her hand, and the floor beneath him shifted into zero gravity. The child floated, weightless, while alien structures rotated around him. His heart skipped a beat as he realized he had to navigate through a narrow, moving corridor of light. A wrong move, and he would hit the walls hard. He remembered what his parents had taught him on his colony. Use your mind, not just your strength. He twisted, kicked, and pushed off walls carefully, using momentum instead of power. Slowly, he moved through the maze, avoiding the glowing barriers. When he reached the end, he landed safely, his feet touching the floor. The Empress's glowing eyes widened ever so slightly, and a ripple of whispers ran through the hall. The third test was a mental challenge, designed to break the smallest human. A sphere of light appeared in front of him, swirling with images, people, worlds, strange creatures. The sphere pulsed, and a voice spoke inside his mind. Choose one life to save. All others will perish. Decide now. The child's heart froze. He knew the impossibility of the task. But he also knew humans did not give up, even when the odds were against them. He took a deep breath and focused. Instead of panicking, he spoke aloud. I will find another way. No one should die because of me. The sphere pulsed violently, and the alien warriors leaned forward, tense. A few whispered, their glowing eyes wide. The Empress's voice filled the hall, calm but sharp. Impressive. You do not succumb to despair. You search for solutions, not excuses. The final trial approached. The Empress gestured, and a massive obstacle rose from the floor. It was a wall, smooth and nearly impossible to climb. Behind it, a faint glow hinted at the next stage. The child's muscles ached, but he refused to panic. He looked around quickly and noticed the structure had tiny grips, almost invisible. Using patience, careful observation, and human ingenuity, he found a path, pressing each grip precisely, testing each step before moving on. The alien warriors watched silently, some leaning forward, some lowering their weapons slightly in awe. The child reached the top and touched the glowing panel beyond the wall. A soft chime echoed through the hall. The Empress's eyes glowed brighter, her expression unreadable, yet something like approval shone in them. You have done well, human, she said. Your courage is evident, but it is your mind, your patience, and your heart that have impressed us. You see challenges where others see impossibility. You find solutions where others surrender. This is the true mark of your kind. The child stepped down from the platform, exhausted but exhilarated. His chest rose and fell rapidly, sweat glistening on his forehead. The alien warriors whispered among themselves, some kneeling slightly, their glowing eyes showing respect. The Empress remained seated on her throne, her gaze fixed on him, measuring every beat of his heart. For the first time, the child understood that humans, though small and fragile, carried something different, something that could not be measured in strength alone. It was creativity, courage, and the refusal to yield to fear. The Empress finally spoke, her voice echoing through the hall. Human child, you have passed the first trials. But know this, the universe is vast, and challenges greater than these await. Only those who combine courage, wisdom, and heart will stand among us. Are you ready to continue? The child straightened, gripping his medal tightly. Yes, he said firmly, his voice steady. I am ready. A hush fell over the hall, broken only by the faint hum of the starship. The alien warriors, once skeptical and cautious, now looked at him with curiosity and a hint of awe. They had seen humans before, but none like him. None who could face impossible odds with nothing but courage and cleverness. The Empress leaned back slightly, her glowing eyes still fixed on him. Somewhere in the vastness of the starship, the seed of respect for humanity had grown a little more. The child knew the next trials would be harder, perhaps even deadly. But he also knew this. No matter how small, no matter how fragile, humans could leave a mark on the stars. And the universe, it seemed, had just begun to notice. The child stood at the center of the great hall, his chest still heaving from the trials. The platform beneath him hummed faintly, a reminder of the alien technology surrounding him. He had faced impossible puzzles, zero-gravity mazes, and tests that threatened both mind and body. Yet here he stood, alive, unbroken, and ready for whatever came next. The alien Empress rose from her throne, her flowing robes shimmering like liquid light. Her glowing eyes were fixed on him, measuring, weighing, testing again, but this time, it felt different. There was something in her gaze, something the child could not name, that made his small victories feel larger than life. "Human child," she said, her voice carrying through the hall like rolling thunder. "You have proven courage. You have proven ingenuity. But now you must show us the strength of your spirit." The final trial appeared suddenly. A massive field of floating platforms shimmered with energy. Between each platform was a gap of blinding light, impossible to cross by ordinary means. At the far end, a glowing pedestal awaited, its surface radiating an energy that seemed to hum with life itself. The child knew instinctively, reach the pedestal, and the trial would be complete. He studied the platforms carefully. His small human eyes traced patterns in their movement. Unlike the aliens, who relied on raw power and advanced technology, he had to use creativity and intuition. He remembered the lessons from the previous trials: patience, observation, and courage. The first step was a leap of faith. His legs pumped, pushing him forward. He landed on the first platform, feeling it sway slightly under his weight. The glow beneath his feet made him dizzy, but he pressed on. One by one, he moved across the platforms, carefully timing each jump, each landing. His heart raced, but fear did not control him. He used balance, judgment, and quick thinking, skills no weapon could teach. Halfway across, one platform began to tilt dangerously. The child froze for a heartbeat, calculating the distance, the momentum, the timing. Then he lunged, pushing off with all his strength. He landed safely, sliding slightly but recovering. A murmur ran through the alien warriors, their glowing eyes widening. Even they had not expected a human to navigate the impossible so calmly. The final platform approached. It shimmered violently, almost repelling him. His muscles ached, sweat dripped from his forehead, and for a moment he felt doubt. But then he looked at the medal on his chest, the symbol of courage, of hope, of helping others. He remembered why he had worn it, why he had faced the impossible before. And with a deep breath, he leaped. Time seemed to slow. The alien warriors held their breath. The Empress leaned forward, her glowing eyes wide and focused. The child landed on the pedestal. Light surged around him, warm and powerful, yet safe. A deep hum filled the hall, vibrating through every wall, every floor, every being present. The Empress rose fully, her presence dominating the room. "Remarkable," she said, her voice resonating like a star. "Your courage is matched by none. Your ingenuity is beyond expectation. And your heart, it shines brighter than any power we have known." One by one, the alien warriors lowered themselves to one knee. Some touched the floor in gestures of respect, their glowing eyes reflecting awe. The child stood still, overwhelmed but proud, understanding that humans, though small, fragile, and underestimated, could earn honor even in a universe that seemed designed to crush them. The Empress descended from her throne, moving closer to the child. Her gaze softened, almost human in its warmth, yet still powerful. "You have shown us what your kind is truly capable of," she said. "Not through strength, not through technology, not through fear, but through courage, creativity, and heart. You carry the essence of humanity itself." The child looked down at his medal. It had been a simple symbol, given for a small act of courage on a distant planet. Yet now, standing among alien warriors and the ruler of an empire that spanned countless worlds, it felt enormous. It was proof that even the smallest being, the weakest species, could leave a mark on the stars. "Your species is small, yet you shine brightly," the Empress continued. "Today, humans have earned respect not through conquest, but through spirit. Today, you have made warriors kneel, not in fear, but in awe. The child smiled, a mixture of relief, pride, and wonder. He had faced tests that seemed impossible, yet he had survived. He had shown that humans could think, act, and stand tall even when the odds were against them. And in that moment, the alien empire saw humans in a new light, not as weak creatures, but as beings of courage and heart. The hall remained silent for a few long moments. Then, slowly, the murmurs of approval began. The alien warriors straightened, their whispers now full of respect and admiration. The Empress nodded once more, a gesture of finality and honor. The child stepped down from the pedestal, chest heaving, metal gleaming. The Empress's gaze followed him, unwavering, as if storing the memory of this small human who had dared to face giants and win their respect. Somewhere deep in the stars, the child knew, humans were still tiny, still fragile, but they had left an impression that would not fade. Courage, ingenuity, and heart were forces no empire could ignore. And as the light of the starship glowed softly around him, the child understood the truth. Even in a universe filled with giants, humans could rise. The alien Empress looked at him one last time, and in her eyes was the recognition that a small human had done what no one had thought possible. Warriors knelt, the hall resonated with silent respect, and the universe had witnessed a moment that would be remembered for generations. The human child smiled. The trials were over. And the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter in honor of humanity.